City 0, Coventry City 2, and the host. Well, it's a very warm welcome back to a second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at the Swansea.com stadium. It is Swansea City 0, Coventry City 2, and deserved scoreline, you would say. The visitors seeing a lot more of the ball, looking confident in terms of their possession, whereas Swansea really struggling to get into the game in terms of an attack. They are trying to get things started early here with the ball down the right-hand side. Just a little bit too quick there for Roland, and out for a throw. But we need to see a real improvement here from Swansea City. Needless to say, they have to get the next goal in this game. If it was to go 3-0 Coventry, don't really give the home side any kind of chance at all. Wait and see whether or not they're able to summon that up. But it's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Steve Pearson taking through the action. And Steve, we saw little glimmers from Swansea when it was 1-0, but then that second goal conceded before half-time just really derails them now.
It has, and as well, you said you've got to see an improvement with Swansea. We've got to see Swansea in the game. They just haven't had any spell of possession, really. They had a little bit better in the final quarter of that first half, but really overall it's been Coventry that have totally dominated this game, not necessarily in terms of creating lots of chances, but in terms of just holding the ball in midfield, stopping Swansea getting out, no room at all for the home side until they started to stretch things late on in that half. And as you said, it looked like they might come back into the game, although there wasn't a great deal around the penalty area, just that one header from Ronald that was saved. But Thomas Asante's moment of inspiration has certainly changed the dimensions of the game coming back out, hasn't it?
Absolutely, yes. In my half-time piece, I'll quickly mention that it was an effort from a long way out. That doesn't really do it justice. It was a fabulous first-time hit from Thomas Asante to lift the ball over the goalkeeper and into the net, taking advantage of the ball being given away in midfield. But it's just a bit of a break in play here now, as there's a bit of a clumsy challenge there, with Clumsy maybe being diplomatic in terms of what Florian Bianchini just did there. Referee Sam Allison taking the more sort of pragmatic school teacher approach of just giving him a bit of a warning there, but he did lunge into his opposite number there.
Yeah, it's not the first time, is it? I think that's a couple, and I think, as you say, Sam Allison just wanting to settle it down a little bit, gives him his final warning, tells him what he wants him to do now, and expects it from the Swans man, and we'll see whether that happens as the game goes on.
Yeah, long free kick now taken, lands all the way at the edge of the Swansea penalty area, but the home side do clear their lines, and it's now down the right-hand side. Roland running straight into trouble though, but the loose ball may still get through towards Bianchini, who just gets clipped there by Lati Baudier. Free kick to Swansea. Just to remind you, no changes in terms of the 11, so it is Vigoro in goal for Swansea, a back four of Key, Cabango, Delqua and Timon. Franco and Fulton are the two holder midfielders, with Christie, Cullen and Roland as the attacking three playing behind Bianchini, although we have seen Bianchini moving over into a wide position. But here comes Swansea now, and they're in a great position until that offside flag puts pay to everything. Roland shaking his head, whether he's shaking his head at the linesman for giving it, or shaking his head at his teammate for passing it to him, or shaking his head at himself for being in an offside position in the first place.
I think I'd be shaking my head at myself there, because you're wide on the right-hand side, you've got all the defensive line to look at, and it's not like you're trying to break through into the penalty area.
He's going to get on the end of it anyway. If he's onside, he gets the ball anyway, yeah.
It's just silly. Just poor play again. And it's that mental thing, isn't it? It's like the mistake that led to the Thomas Asante goal. It's just that little slip, you're not focused, you're not ready, and things like that then start happening, and that's really frustrating from a Swansea point of view, as Sheffield United have gone 1-0 up at Derby. Ben Brereton Diaz with the goal for Sheffield United on his return to the Blades, but anything you can do, Leeds, it seems, can do better as they go 3-0 up against Cardiff. Dan James, former Swansea man. No chuckling Swansea supporters, please.
Absolutely, yeah, Dan James. That will certainly cheer up the Swansea fans a little bit, considering that their former man has got a goal against Cardiff. But it's Coventry on the attack now. They've got some space down the left. It's Rodoni's ball in. It's only just eluding Sims and Torp by if you go by a yard or so, then the ball is cleared back into midfield. I'll just remind you of the Coventry 11, but in the meantime they're on the attack again. Oh, it's played back into the 6-yard box, and Asante just can't quite get his foot on it. And in fact, he might have actually hurt himself there as he's tried to go for that. It looked to me like he'd almost actually trodden on the ball. It's, again, this non-existent Swansea midfield, and it's just played into the 6-yard box, and it really should be 3-0.
Yeah, it should. He ends up slightly behind him. Thomas Asante trying to hook the ball back through his legs almost as he goes down. I think actually he gets trod on. That's the problem, as he falls to the floor, and unfortunately his hand ends up under the foot of the defender as he comes across to try and cover. But it was a great opportunity, lovely bit of play and interplay again down that right hand side, but it's just two quick passes, isn't it, that creates the space again. The Swansea defence not quick enough to deal with it, and as you say, good opportunity to be 3-0.
Should have been really, but it's just to remind you for Coventry, Dobbin in goal, back three, Vlati Bodier, Thomas and Kitching, Van Ewig, Torp and Allen and Bidwell at the four of midfield, with Redoni in that number 10 role, playing behind the Thomas Asante and Sims. Those are the 2-11s, and it's Swansea in possession here in midfield. A header across should be kept in play on the left-hand side by Timon. Back towards Kitching, and then back towards Delcroix, I should say, and it's all the way back towards Vigoro in that Swansea goal. Towards Cabango. I mean, in terms of that second goal from Thomas Asante, of course, the ball was given away in midfield, but with that ball being sort of lobbed up in the air and Vigoro tracking back, should he be doing a little bit better with that one, do we think?
Yeah, I had a look at the replay at half-time, and his starting position isn't too bad, actually. He's not like he's too far out. He's in exactly the position he should really be in. It's just superb play. The only thing is because he might be expecting a back pass, he's moved a little to the left-hand side of his goal in case they need to go back to him. That's actually what puts him out of position. It's not his fault, it's just he's in the right place. Ball is too far across then. And because he's bending from his left to his right, it's the way he's running as well, trying to get back across.
Absolutely. I mean,
it takes it away from him.
If he wasn't moving over to left and then it was a back pass, you'd criticise him for not trying to anticipate it. So it's just, you can't legislate for your central midfielder giving the ball away like that. And that's what's really been the main problem there. But Swansea have gone up the other end in the meantime, and Bobby Thomas puts the ball out for a corner, and that ball is now whipped into the 6-yard box. It's a defensive header there from Thomas. It's then played back in, and it's lifted a long way over and away for a goal kick. As we'll see again, this initial ball is into the penalty area, and when it's cleared, he's got no balance there at all. Maybe he is trying to sort of make up for that giveaway for the second goal there, Franco, but that was a poor shot, very poor shot.
Yeah, well, as you say, he's off balance. He's got 2 or 3 defenders coming towards him as well. And you look at the ball in, really, there's 3 players attacking it. They're all in black shirts. It's all Coventry defenders are in that area of the goal as the corner came in. So either the corner wasn't hit right, or the players weren't making the right runs in the centre to where that ball should have been played into. You know, now with the coaching that goes on in terms of set pieces, everything's a set play, so you know roughly where it should be landing, you know where you should be attacking, but that one just dropped straight into a space where there was not a white shirt inside. So again, it raises some question marks about whether people are on the same page or whether the ball in was just poor.
Absolutely, but it's just there's still far too many issues here for Swansea at the moment. They are seeing a little bit more of the ball now after a bright start here from Coventry at the beginning of the game. 53 minutes gone, it is still Swansea 0, Coventry City. Just looking into League One very quickly, there's a bit of a shock in League One. It's Birmingham 0, Rotherham 1, which would certainly throw things up a little bit at the top of the league. Wickham are leading away at Cambridge, and Wrexham are 1-0 up away at Crawley as well. Looking at things in League One, change in the Championship, looking at the scores there. It's a throw on now to Coventry down the right-hand side. Van Ewig just being asked to go back a couple of yards further. They're looking at the 2 benches this afternoon. It's Norton, Petrovnik, Gileni, Pert Harris, Ji-sung, Oliver, Onya, Parker and McLaughlin on the bench for Swansea this afternoon. It's Eccles, Bassett, Perry, Blinks, Borges, Rodriguez, De Silva, Sakamoto, Howley and Collins on the bench for Coventry. Seeing any movement on that bench from either side for the time being. There's an offside now against Bianchini. Free kick to Coventry. It's going to be taken long here by Lati Baudier. Thought it would be, but he's got a couple of players to potentially to play it short to if he wants to. But he's thinking about it. A long diagonal ball here over towards the left-hand side, towards the edge of the penalty area. It's headed up in the air, just gets away from Ellis Sims. Heavy touch there in midfield from Roland. It almost dropped through to a Coventry player, but it's just about been kept going here by the home side. Over towards the right-hand side now for Key, who then plays it back in towards Cabango. There's no quick outlet for Swansea when they do win the ball back.
No, and again, it's what happened in the first half, isn't it? It's all coming down the middle, and Coventry are perfectly happy with that. They're happy to funnel Swansea into those central positions because they know they've got people there. You see it again, ball forward, Kitchen is straight in on the challenge, and then there's 3 Swansea players around the ball, but none of them are actually able to get the foot on it and try and find some space. They've got to do what they did early on late on in the first half, rather, is get the ball out wide more quickly, this Swansea side, and try and stretch it.
Need to try and do, as Jamie Allen there was unhappy. He thought he might have been fouled. The free kick actually went the other way. Swansea have gone up the other end, but the ball has been quickly cleared back into midfield. Just bounces away from the advancing Josh Key. Is Jamie Allen now for Coventry in midfield over towards Bidwell. Down that left-hand side, the ball is now cut out. Swansea back in possession here in midfield with Cullen. Back in towards Christie. So Swansea again looking to try and get things started down the right-hand side. It's Roland now, staying in an onside position this time, heading towards the edge of the penalty area. Just checks his run, goes back in towards Fulton. And now Christie, but again, there's just no real easy way in for Swansea right now. Exchanging passes on the halfway line. It's over on the left-hand side. To get something started. That's good work, in fact, from Timon, I think it was, down the left, trying to get something started. He's got an overlap as well if he can find it. The ball coming into the box, but it's a lofty ball in. And see, if I was Luke Williams, I'd be thinking about giving Gonzalo Franco the hook, because the central midfielder's having a bit of a nightmare today.
He is. He's not had a good game at all, as you say. He made the mistake that led to the goal, the second one, and hasn't really been able to get foot on the ball. He's not really looked comfortable at all in this game, either defensively or from an attacking point of view. So something's got to change here from a Swansea side of things. You maybe say 5 more minutes, and then it's got to be a substitution, a change of tactic perhaps, and try and push some players forward. I know it's not normally the way he'd like to play, but I'd be tempted to go 3 at the back and try and spread it out by trying to get a couple of wing backs out there to give them a little bit more of an option and some room to move into. But the problem at the moment is that Coventry are now in shutdown mode, aren't they? They've got everybody behind the ball. They're all staying in their respective positions. They're closing down quickly every time, pushing Swansea back, forcing them to turn back towards their own goal, and they're doing it very well at the moment.
They are. They're looking comfortable at the moment. That will be the worry, I think, from Swansea's point of view, that nothing's happening here that is doing anything to really upset the rhythm for Coventry. They've just won the ball back in midfield as well. Now Rodoni has a chance to push forward down the left-hand side. Then he puts the ball into the box, which is headed up in the air. There may still be a chance as it drops to Thomas Asante. He can't quite get a shot away, though. There were just too many Swansea bodies in the way. It's then hooked up in the air, but a bit of distance on that one as well, and it's out for a throw.
Yeah, but the question is, again, is how is Thomas Asante getting nearly onto the ball there when there's 3 defenders around him? There's nobody attacking it. There's nobody taking control from a Swansea point of view, but there's going to be changes here, not surprisingly now. A couple of them coming. Cooper and Vipotnik are the 2 who are going to come on, and no great surprise that something's got to change here for Swansea.
No, it does. I mean, I think that they have to try and give themselves enough time as well. Making a substitution with 15-20 minutes to go won't be enough. They need to give themselves a full half hour, really, to try and turn things around in this game. They've got a bit of defending here to do now, though, as it's Coventry in possession down the left-hand side, but Jamie Allen couldn't quite keep that ball in play. So it is out for a throw to Swansea City. It's with Cyrus Christie down the right-hand side. Not sure where finds a teammate with a long throw. Someone needs to drop a little bit shorter in for Christie. One of 2 players booked in the first half, him and his teammate Hannes Delcroix picking up yellow cards. And Christie starting to go back towards Unga. Even the referee was telling him to hurry up then, which is ironic considering that Swansea are 2-0 down.
Well, exactly, yeah. It's just, you've got to get on the front foot. There's got to be some energy. There's got to be something in this side. And that's the worrying side for the Swansea fans, is that there isn't that energy, there isn't that pep. There's nobody getting hold of the game in midfield and saying, come on, this is what we've got to do to try and move it forward at the moment. And maybe that's what the changes are for. Vipotnik obviously will battle out up front, and Cooper as fresh legs further back.
Absolutely, so confirmation. The first change will be Florian Bianchini to go off. Looks like Vipotnik is on to replace him, although it's actually Cooper that's gone off as Bianchini's going off, but we'll see who the other player is to go off as well. We're seeing quite see the other player. I think it's going to be Bianchini is one. To go off to them. So shown us on the screen yet who the other change was, but now we can confirm that it is Key who's gone off to be replaced by Cooper on that right-hand side. Whether or not he plays in that role, and then Bianchini is off to be replaced by Vipotnik.
Yeah, it looks like we might be going to a back 3 then on that basis, because Ronald has
They've listened to your advice.
Yeah, absolutely, very rarely. Not saying it'll make any difference, but nevertheless it might be, because as I say, it looks like Ronald has come out wide onto this right-hand side. Bianchini, as you say, he's put a bit of effort in, but he hasn't really had much possession, has he? As Vipotnik now will try and give the central defenders of Coventry a little bit something to deal with here, although he's given a foul away, rather soft one, as Latibodier made the most of what little contact there was, but it's a free kick to Coventry inside their own half. But yeah, just waiting to see exactly where Ollie Cooper is lining up now in midfield for Coventry. but certainly it does look like they've shifted things around. I think Christie has gone back in alongside Cabango and Delcroix, I think, into a back three. With Timon still on one side and Ronald on the other, then as wing backs, it would appear, at least with, I'm presuming it's now Fulton and Cooper then.
He needed to do it though, didn't he? He needs to try and give his side a bit of a different shape just to make it a bit more competitive. But just as we say that, a ball's headed on down the left-hand side and Sims breaks into the box and he finds Rodoni. Rodoni goes for goal. That's a really good save from the second ball coming in after that. Save from Vigoro. Then the ball is cleared back into midfield. In fact, it goes out for a throw to Coventry down the right-hand side, but that was very close to Coventry going 3-0 up.
Yeah, it's a very good save from Vigoro, isn't it? Because he comes at him through players as well. Sims racing into the penalty area. Nice first touch from him. Didn't look like there was going to be space to get any kind of shot in, at least to begin with, when the ball came back to Rodoni, but he found a gap, and it's a really good stop from Vigoro, because they say it came through a pair of legs as ball into the area again from Coventry. Mike Thomas Asante, his effort is charged down. Rodoni, oh, how's that gone over the crossbar? Flicks off a defensive heel and flies up, and Jack Rodoni cannot believe that he hasn't got another one for Coventry here.
Well, again, it's just a long throw which isn't dealt with initially. The first header is blocked. Asante's effort is also blocked, and then when it drops to Rodoni, credit to the defenders just throwing themselves at it to stop it going in the net.
Yeah, he does. Just trying to see. I think it just comes off a trailing leg of Cabango, isn't it? Who's got across there. It just hits his back foot. Unfortunately for him, spins up and over somehow.
It's going to be an out-swinging corner now from the right-hand side. Aimed at, well, it was Thomas who was trying to get that header towards goal. It's cleared out into midfield. And it may be a chance now for Swansea to go on the counter, but not with defending like that. It's good work there from Rodoni. Puts it out for a throw. It's going to be a throw on now down the right-hand side for Swansea City, but it's still deep inside their own half with Christie coming across to take this one. Still three Coventry players he's got to try and navigate past. A couple of teammates are dropping a little bit deeper for him as well. Christie gets the ball back. Plays it back to Cabango, who's immediately under pressure there. You hear my colleague grimacing there as to what he was trying to do with the ball. Is now played back in towards Thomas Asante, but the goalkeeper Vigoro is quickly off his line.
As I gave myself away a little bit there, that I wasn't impressed by the pass backwards, and it's not been the first time we've had a sharp intake of breath around some Swansea defending. You know, too many times they're playing poor balls into players behind them. It means that they've got to take an extra touch or got to turn end up, they get forced back towards their own goal, and that's what the frustration is from many frustrations from a Swansea point of view, but that's particularly one today where they've just not been able to find that sharp pass, get themselves away from a challenge and open up the space behind a Coventry player. It's just too many times it's too one-dimensional at the moment. There's a couple of goals elsewhere. Fulham have equalised against Newcastle, that one's 1-1. Sheffield Wednesday have equalised against Luton. Smith from the penalty spot making it 1-1 there. Leeds, job done, you would think now, if it wasn't before. Another penalty, this time Joel Peru. It is Leeds 4, Cardiff 0. I know a Cardiff fan who's made the journey up. He's got a long drive home.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Having made a journey from West Yorkshire to South Wales before, I do sympathise. It's not the easiest journey to make, and as I say, particularly with a scoreline like that, is a long ball now for Swansea City. And I think what's the referee given here? Because as the ball was played, it was a long clearance there from Vigoro, and going after it was Vipotnik, and it looks like there was Roland there has he sort of thrown a punch towards Bidwell there possibly?
I think he just pushes him to the floor. I think it's rather petulant rather than nasty. It doesn't like the referees put a yellow card out. Just give a foul. It was away from the ball, as you say, because the ball went over the top of those two. But Ronald just never let go of the Coventry man, did he? And then just pushed him in the middle of back. It was all a little bit silly, a bit petty, and I think the referees just taken it that way. There wasn't too much complaint from the Coventry players. They were happy just to get the free kick and relieve what little pressure there was heading their way.
Absolutely, there has been very little in terms of pressure. In fact, I'm a little bit disappointed that's. I mean, in fairness, that best spell that Swansea had was in those 10 minutes before Coventry got their second goal. But since the start of the second half, there really has been precious little in terms of any kind of attacking threat from a Swansea point of view. As Bidwell gets a telling off for not taking a throw on in the right spot. I mean, that must be the easiest defence to get away with on a football pitch in general. Let's just happen to be next to the fourth official. Bidwell there being closed down as he gets the ball back, but it's hooked out, and it will be another throw to Coventry. It was Cooper with the block.
Yeah, and it's now Leeds 5, Cardiff 0. Willie Gnonto having come on the field after 66 minutes to replace Dan James, who scored earlier on. 1 minute later, Gnonto's on the score sheet as well.
Maybe your friend can get a bit of a head start on the track.
If they'll let him out, I think he'll already have just gone past Birmingham, to be honest with you. I suspect he'll be that far down. Yeah, it's 5-0.
Yeah, it's been a long afternoon for Cardiff, but then predictable really the way that Leeds have been playing this season, particularly at home. But meanwhile, back here at Swansea.com Stadium, here are the home side now getting down the right-hand side, and Roland, he wants that free kick far too easy. The linesman wasn't interested, funnily enough, but Sam Allison is, who was a lot further away than our assistant referee. But to me, it looked like Roland effectively just leant on Kitching and then started to fall and said, right, I've been fouled here, so where's my free kick? And for some reason, the referee buys it.
Yeah, I think he thinks there's a bit of a pullback from Lane Kitching, but looking at the replay, I don't see it at all. There's hands on, but there's no actual contact that would stop Ronald getting onto the ball and getting away with it. I think Swansea have bought one there, and unfortunately for them, fortunately for them, I should say, Sam Allison has got his debit card out and is happy to buy.
Yeah, it's a strange one, that, and certainly Coventry won't be happy if Swansea get a goal from this. I can always say the fact that lineman was practically next to it and he wasn't indicating any kind of foul is always a good sign, I think, in terms of whether we think the referee's got it right or wrong. But it's a free kick now to be taken by Josh Timon. It's going to be an in-swinger from the right-hand side, cleared towards the edge of the area, kept alive here by Ollie Cooper. Cooper then trying to turn away, he's being closed down, just about keeps the ball alive though, back into midfield. Another chance here now as it's Roland from deep. For options to get a ball into the penalty area, just goes square, then it's lifted towards the left-hand side, headed down. It may still drop here for Christie. No, it won't. It's cleared back into midfield where it's been won back immediately. Another chance here for Swansea as they go down the left-hand side. The ball takes a big deflection. Both sets of players saying it should be our ball, but the referee goes with Franco's version. It's going to be a corner kick. Yeah,
at least he's getting himself more involved, Franco, last few minutes, which we've not really seen in this game. It's largely bypassed him, and we thought he might get substituted, but he stayed on at the moment, and he does well to win the corner on that occasion. I think he also buys a little bit of that as well, as he quickly grabbed the ball and said, yeah, definitely a corner, no problem.
Yeah, that does have an impact sometimes, just sort of trying to style it out like that. It's going to be an out-swinging corner. It's along the ground. It's driven towards goal, and there is a defender getting his body in the way, deflected over the bar after that strike coming in. And it was a decent effort, just over, but a good block as well.
Yeah, it was a very good block from Torp, actually, who slides in on the effort from Cullen. It was a nicely worked corner. We were critical of the one last time, weren't we, when it went into an area where there was nobody with a Swansea shirt on at all. But that one was much better. Ball whipped in towards that near post. Obviously a planned move. Cullen spun away and turned himself back towards that near post area. Had it not been for the block from Torp, that could have been an equaliser for Swansea. One back, I should say, for Swansea.
It'll be an in-swinging corner now from the right-hand side. Inside the penalty area, plenty of activity there, just in front of Dobbin, but here comes the ball towards the back post. Dobbin is there, gets a decent punch on it towards the edge of the area. May still be a chance as it's fired back towards that right-hand side, but he was doing it in such a rush, Cooper, that he couldn't quite find his teammate on the right-hand side, and it's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it just stretched, didn't it? Just ended up under pressure from a couple of defenders coming across to try and cover, and he didn't quite get there, and it's ended up spinning out and out of play. But this is better from Swansea, at least. I know Coventry aren't exactly pushing players forward. They're trying to see out the game, trying to close it down in midfield, not really pushing anybody upfield, but it's better from Swansea. They're playing the ball. There's an increased tempo from this Swan side, at least, and it's making Coventry actually work for this lead.
It is, but it just makes you think this is what Swansea should have been doing when it was 0-0.
Absolutely.
And when it was 1-0, as I say, it's good that they're showing some fight here in the second half, but it's still not really enough. They're not doing anything really to test Oliver Dobbin. They're certainly doing a lot to test his outfield players, but the goalkeeper's still having a fairly quiet afternoon for the time being. But we are at 69 minutes now. It is Swansea 0, Coventry 2, and it will be Steve to take us through to full time.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. As Coventry come forward down their left-hand side, Radoni tries to find some space, just when we said they weren't really getting players forward. Of course, inevitably they then do, but the ball is out for a throw-in to Coventry then, level with the edge of the Swansea penalty area. Nobody can decide which ball to use at the moment, but finally Bidwell gets one, and he will have it knocked back to him. Little back heel into the path of Radoni, who goes down under the challenge of Cooper, and it will be a free kick for Coventry, wide on the left-hand side. Bit of a whinge from one or two of the Coventry players about the challenge from Cooper, but referee happy just to give the free kick from wide on this left-hand side. Coventry, who've won all of their last 3 games. They're on course to make it 4 in a row. 20 minutes left then. And they lead by 2 goals to 0 in South Wales. Redoni over the free kick then, wide on the left. The white shirted defensive line is all just past the penalty spot. Plenty of movement in there, bit of pushing and shoving going on. Redoni waits for a moment or two before he finally puts the ball in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It comes off a Coventry head. I'm trying to see, the referee has stopped play. I'm not sure whether he stopped it before the free kick actually came in though, because there was a lot of pushing going on with Thomas at the back there on Cabango, I think it is. And,
I mean, if the referee's going to give that, I mean, I don't know, is he going to let it be taken again?
Yeah,
I think he was whistling for it just as they were taking the free kick.
Yeah, I think he stopped them before he was actually playing the ball in on that occasion, so it's not a foul in play as it were, it's just having a word with both players before we start again. Thomas is in exactly the same place as he was. Seems to be offside as the ball comes in towards the far post. His shirt pulled there, Thomas, as well, but flag was up on the far side anyway. I think it was Thomas who was offside in the first instance, and therefore it will be a free kick to Swansea. They want Vigouroux to take it, so he will come to the edge of his penalty area and roll it 5 yards to his right. So I'm not quite sure what the point of that was, but anyway, the ball is played forward by Christie up towards the halfway line. Cooper will chip a ball over the top and will be chased by Ronald down that right-hand side. Thomas is back very quickly though to get a foot to it, and he hooks it on a play, I think for a throw-in. Yep, it's going to play for a throw on that right-hand side. Ronald will come forward to take it. You can't take it quickly though, because there is nobody in a white shirt on the screen as we see it, anywhere near the penalty area. So they'll wait a little moment or two for Christie to come forward. Stoke have gone 2-1 up against Hull, by the way, in that game on the MKM Stadium. Hull 1, Stoke 2. So throw-in opportunity deep inside the box here then for Christie to launch this one. 3 Swansea players all around the edge of the 6-yard box as Christie puts it in, but it's too short, it's headed away. Swansea though will win it back, although Ronald's being turned back towards his own goal by Thomas Asante. He does well to hold him off though. Manages to have support from Josh Timer behind him, but he's had to go back to his goalkeeper. I'm sure that has been greeted with grumbles and moans by the Swansea supporters. As the ball forward by Vigouroux, then goes straight into play.
Exactly. If they're going to spend 10 passes trying to keep possession in midfield to go back to their keeper, who then sends a diagonal ball out straight to for a throw onto the opposition, well, that's not going to be greeted well, and we can see Liam Williams, they're looking a little bit, Luke Williams I should say, looking a little bit frustrated, but there was some activity there just behind him, which I was trying to see. It looks like it's another Coventry, another Swansea change. Still no changes for Coventry though.
Yeah, it looks like Swansea are going to shuffle the pack again. Luke Williams' doppelganger, Darren Drysdale, the 4th official, is getting the board out. They do look like brothers.
They do, yeah.
On the sideline,
that's right.
As the ball is played forward, same physique, same height, everything.
Yeah, I looked at Luke Williams and I thought, has he changed his jacket at half time? Because it genuinely, there is that similarity between them. But all that aside, I think it's another frustrating afternoon for Swansea. And with 17 minutes to go plus injury time, there is still time for them to get back into this game. They score 1 goal, the home crowd wakes up, but you just don't see it at the moment.
No, there's not really signs of life, is there really, in this Swansea side? But as you say, they're not totally out of the game just yet. Still 16 minutes and change to go. They have to find something soon as Vigouroux just rolls the ball onto his right-hand side, where it'll be picked up again by Christie. Looks like they're almost gone to a kind of elongated back 3 now. Christie's coming really wide on this right-hand side, so is Cooper. They're hoping for a central midfielder to drop in as the ball's over the top to Ronald, who's suddenly broken the offside trap. Kitchen looks around for a flag that doesn't come, but the ball across is blocked by Liam Kitchen, tracking back. Swansea still have possession, though, with Cooper on their right-hand side. He keeps the ball in under pressure from Bidwell. He's forced backwards. And there should be time here for Christie to get it forward if he can, but again, there's nobody to pass it to. Every Swansea player is marked by a defender as Cooper comes across. He'll try and get the foul. He does for the challenge by Redoni, but he takes the kick quickly. Christie wants to play it forward again, but again there's no way to go, and it's got to be worked around from right to left. There's Delcroix. Back to his now captain, Cabango. After the departure of Matt Grimes, confirmed to Coventry yesterday. Not in the squad today for the Sky Blues. Here's Christie. Into the feet of Cooper. I was going to say that's better. Looking for Bipotnik, but he just got away from the striker. He couldn't quite stretch to it.
Just a bit too much pace on the pass, but we're seeing that last chance there as well as that ball was played over the top. So one to be chased down on the right-hand side. The cut back again. There's just too many Coventry bodies in the way.
Yeah, it just took too long, didn't it, really, Ronald? You want to see him drive down and take Kitchen out of the game by driving past him, and he didn't. He stayed out wide and gave Liam Kitchen the chance to come back and make the challenge. As Swansea win yet another free kick as the game gets a little bit disjointed by a series of fouls. Little ones by Coventry, as game management, I suppose you would say, as Ronald has possession then for Swansea. Ball chipped into the area. Vipotnik tries one on the turn. It's blocked by Torp and behind for another corner. Certainly since Vipotnik's come on, at least he's given them a focal point up front to try and work around.
Absolutely, yeah. He's getting into that very central role. Not seen too many opportunities for him to hold the ball up, but the hope will be that he can get some more possession and keep it and get his teammates into the game.
Can they find something from the corner kick then, as Liverpool have gone 2-0 up away at Bournemouth? Like a tricky test for Liverpool, but not proving that way. Mo Salah's second goal of the afternoon makes it 2-0. Swansea suffering the same scoreline at home against Coventry. Here's the ball in towards the near post, and again it's a free header, but again it's not angled towards goal as Cullum, not marked, pulls away into space, but this time can't do anything with it as Swansea look to make more substitutions.
Yeah, another double change here for Swansea now. They're getting ready to bring on Ji Sung. He'll be coming on here for Cullen.
That's the first change as he heads off the field. Liam Cullen, that was his last action then. Liam comes on. It's going to be Pert Harris, I think, is the second one, isn't it, who will come onto the field. Yeah, here he comes. So Pert Harris, the second change. Didn't actually see who went off for Swansea, although the caption now tells us it's Jay Fulton.
No surprise, really. I mean, I must admit, I'm staggered that Gonzalo Franco has survived the hook twice.
Yes. Yeah.
Considering that he's had such a difficult game of this afternoon. But Miles Pert Harris, the youngster on loan from Brentford, he'll be looking to try and make a little bit of an impact now. But his side having to do some defending. Here come Coventry.
He's got 2 goals on the season, Pert Harris, but he's got defending to do here as Bidwell puts the cross in towards the far post, headed away by Delcroix before Sims can get there, but Coventry win it back, but they can't keep possession for long as Ronald plays the ball onto his left-hand side. Pert Harris gets his first touch. There were options further forward, although they just had to check back and stay onside, and that gives Van Ewijk the chance to get back and make the challenge. Ball cleared away, but straight back to Swansea again, although Pert Harris can't keep possession this time. Pressure from 2 Coventry players, nice interplay, and they come away now with space with Rodoni. Just has to wait a second or two for the ball to go in his path, but he still finds Bidwell. Cross from him towards the far post. He was looking for Thomas Asante, running in behind Sims, but just got too much on it. That was a very quick break though by Coventry.
Well, it was, and that's the worry I think for Swansea, is that it's taking them a very long time to get any kind of possession. But as soon as Swansea lose it, Coventry already have ideas exactly what they want to do. There's a lot of variation there as well. And there's so much space on that Coventry left that really they could just pick their spot.
Yeah, certainly opportunities there. They just overhit a little on this occasion. So the opportunity disappeared as it looks like Coventry will make their first substitution of the afternoon. With around about 11 minutes left to go. Sakamoto it is who's going to come on for them. It is Rodoni who will leave the field. Jack Rodoni, who's had a decent game overall. Sakamoto just bring a little bit fresh legs into the side. 3 goals on the season in the league for him as well so far. Opportunities therefore for players to come on and in one case see out the game, and in the other case try and make a name for themselves. With only 10 minutes left to go though. The clock is playing 12th man for Coventry. Not too much time left, and not really clear-cut signs of this Swansea side being able to get back into the game. If they can get something now, it will at least give us a tense finish in this match, but as it stands at the moment, Coventry defending well. They've got more defending to do here as Thomas has to scamper across to his right-hand side, clears the ball downfield up towards the halfway line, straight back to Swansea though, and they will have possession as Cabango rolls it to Christie. Christie wants movement forward, he has to play it short instead to Ronald. He was looking for the pass through there. Cooper kind of got in the way inadvertently. It was the runner behind Franco who was running into space on that occasion, but Cooper didn't know that, tried to control it. The ball spins off him and out of play for a throw in to Coventry.
And this is where I think the worry for Swansea is that there was going to be a bit of an effort trying to just have a bit more of an established midfield, trying to get something started in attack, and it's just not working out. Coventry's 2-goal lead, and the fact that they were so much better organised in the first half, it really is paying dividends for them in the second half now.
Swansea have a throw in rather fortunately, I think. It looked like it did flick off the heels of Cooper, but difficult for the assistant to see further down the line on that occasion. Referee blocked, I'm sure, by a number of players in between him and the challenge on that near side. But it's Swansea who have possession, but it's only on the halfway line as they try and thread something and thread a needle down that left-hand side. They've got players forward here if they can find a ball into the box. Sakamoto does well defensively to come back. Ball worked across to Franco again, central position. He in turn finds Christie, who's pushing a little further forward. Pass to Ronald is rather overhit, but he manages to keep possession. But then a poor ball in, cleared away by Thomas. Sims is going to chase this one down, but Cabango is there first. And some nice tidying up between Cabango and Delcroix. Sees the ball back into the Coventry half as the pitch starts to cut up a little now. Ronald driving down the right-hand side, puts a ball across, but it's behind everybody in a white shirt and out of play. And again, we see, they're starting to find space out wide now, but the ball's into the box. Coventry dealing with them superbly.
They are. I mean, there was a bit of misfortune because one of the players slipped. I'm not sure the ball would have got through to him anyway, but now it's been taken quickly. There's a ball down the right-hand side, and this is the real frustration there. Ollie Cooper caught an offside position for the really limited amount of attacks that we've had from Swansea. They've been caught offside far too many times.
Yeah, they have. There's going to be another change here as well for Coventry. Looks like Thomas Asante's race has run after that superb goal in the first half from around about 35-40 yards out, and he will be replaced by Eccles. So it's I think what you call a pragmatic substitution, with Eccles coming on and Thomas Asante coming off, just to try and block things off again.
Yes,
and see out the game.
Just to try and make things that little bit more difficult. Meanwhile, there's just a bit of a surprise in the Premier League, Steve, as well, as we saw Newcastle taking the lead against Fulham in that game. Murphy giving Newcastle the lead, but then an equaliser from Jimenez, and now Rodrigo Muniz has made it Newcastle 2, Fulham 1. Newcastle 1, Fulham 2.
Fulham 2, yeah. As Fulham turning it around in the last half an hour of that game so far. Still Ipswich 1, Southampton 1, Everton 3 up against Leicester, and Liverpool 2 up at Bournemouth. As one or two might have looked at that Bournemouth game, particularly Arsenal fans, I would think, and maybe think, okay, might be a weekend where we can get something back on this, but Liverpool ruthlessly effective, it would appear, in that game. Salah with a couple. And in the Championship, it remains Sheffield United 1 up at Derby, Burnley 0-0 with Portsmouth, and Leeds just sneaking past Cardiff by 5-0 at the moment. It looks like they've declared, though, because they haven't scored in the last 10 minutes, Leeds. So
just slowing things down a little bit now towards the end of the game. But yeah, Leeds looking absolutely imperial at home this season. There have been a couple of little hiccups, but it's almost impossible to have a perfect record in the Championship. It's such a long season, such a tough division to call. But so there are 4 teams fighting for those top 2 places, but Leeds, you would say, are the favourites.
Yeah, they certainly are. Top of the table, will be a couple of points clear as it stands. Then, more worryingly from a Swansea point of view, the defeat today will still see them as it stands at the moment. Luton having been pegged back, they will still be 7 points clear of the bottom 3. At one point that was down to 5 with Luton winning at Sheffield Wednesday, but that's now back to 1-1 as Cooper comes away down the right hand side. 2 defenders in front of him, easily pushed off it by Thomas. Literally and metaphorically, I suppose, both in that sense, because it wasn't a push in terms of a foul, it was just eased away from it, and the ball runs harmlessly out of play from a Coventry point of view for a throw-in while on their left hand side. And the other end of the table in terms of Coventry's side of things, victory as it stands would take them up to 11th, and they would only be 3 points outside the top 6 as it stands at this precise moment in time, with 5 minutes of this game to go and only a couple of minutes of the other games which kicked off in front of us. As Swansea try and get forward again. That looked like handball as Bavotnik tried to play it over the top, but was blocked out. Referee says it was a chest rather than arm, and therefore it will be a Swansea ball, but only from a throw-in. 5 minutes to go then. Swansea 0, Coventry 2, as Southampton have got a second at Ipswich. Ipswich 1, Southampton 2 in that game at Portman Road. As here comes Bidwell down the left-hand side, hooks the ball across towards the edge of the box. Sims somehow gets to it, finds Sakamoto. It's down that left-hand side overhit, but Coventry still in possession. We do have a number of players forward here as Sakamoto is clipped round the back of his ankles, and he will win a free kick for the foul by Franco. But again, you look at the ball into the box, Paul. The point I was just going to make was Sims is there, 3 defenders around him. He still gets to the ball.
He does. I mean, this is the worry, I think, from Swansea, that they've just not been able to sort of step up. They've been backing off a little bit. We can talk about the manager having problems. We can talk about the manager's style, but these are basic things in football that just need to be looked at. As we can now see, third goal at Portman Road is Ipswich 1, Southampton 2, and so I'm actually with the second goal there for the Saints.
Yeah, just to let you know that Leeds have come out after tea and have scored again. They haven't declared, actually. They're still batting. 6-0, Joseph with the goal. Leeds 6, Cardiff 0. Only raise a slight smile for the Swansea supporters as they try and cope with what's looking like a defeat. 4 minutes left to go. Coventry leading by 2-0 in this game. Excellent goal for the Sky Blue. Game for the Sky Blues so far. We've talked about Swansea's traumas. But from Coventry's point of view, it looks good as the ball comes in from Torp. It's pushed away and it came off a Coventry man last, says the keeper, as Vigouroux was scrambling inside his 6-yard box with bodies all round him.
He was. I mean, it's hard to tell. Even we'll have a look at this closer replay, who this actually comes off in the end. I think it's, I think as Vigouroux is coming out for that, it looks like there was a touch on there from Alati Baudier, but the ball now back in play with Swansea trying to get forward. We've got 3 minutes before we hit injury time.
He could have scored against his former club there, and he wasn't too far away again. Surrounded by white shirts, but still manages to get his head on the ball. It is a worrying time for Swansea, but Coventry finding at least half opportunities at will in this second half. They've largely just shut the game down, leading by the 2 goals in the first half. Sims with the first, and then Thomas Asante with that beautiful bit of improvisation from 40 yards out to hook the ball over a stranded Vigouroux and make it 2-0. Since then, it's been largely comfortable for Frank Lampard's side. Ball forward again down the left-hand side for Swansea. Coventry with everybody behind the ball now, though. Swansea have possession. They've given the ball away as Sakamoto tries to get away. Ball falls in midfield to Torp. He flicks it on, but it's blocked out. Swansea have the opportunity perhaps to get things forward, but again they've been forced to go backwards. Lovely first step by Christie, though. Gets away from a couple of challenges and finds Cooper, who's got room to get across in. He lifts one towards the far post. It's headed away. Picked up by Swansea in a central position, but nowhere to go. They go back to Cabango, on to Del Quadro. Has to be quick. Manages to push it towards Timon on that left-hand side. It's back to Del Quadro. Right foot of ball in towards the penalty area. He's overhit. Kitchen heads it away. Swansea win it straight back, though, with Ronald down their right-hand side. He gets a cross in, but it's poor straight into the arms of Doven, who has had very little to do in this second half, and rather ambitiously he drops to the floor. Now that's just come up on our screens. The stats about on-target shots have just come up. Are they counting that as a shot?
I wonder if they've just...
Because technically it was on target,
I just wonder if they're desperate to say that there was a shot on target, so that's why they've allocated that as an effort on target. But no, it's not been a good afternoon for Swansea City at all. We don't want to labour the point, but there can be issues with injuries, tactics, but there just needs to be a bit more effort, I think, as well. As changes now for Coventry, it looks like Alex Simpson might be one of the first to go off. Yeah,
Alex Simpson, he scored the goal that opened the scoring, will come off. Bassett will be the replacement for him just for the last couple of minutes of this game. As he comes onto the field, just waiting to see who the other one is going to be. It is going to be Victor Torp, who's done his job in midfield, particularly in this second half, dug in and battled well. He will head for the exit early, get a little bit of a breather, and Moses Rodriguez is the man who will come on in his place, but it is only for the last couple of minutes. We're waiting to see how much stoppage time there will be. We are into the 90th minute with Coventry leading by 2-0, and more of those black seats are starting to appear around the Swansea.com stadium as the Swansea faithful head for the exits early. The side still pushing forward down the right-hand side, but it looks a forlorn effort as Ronald tries to chip a ball in. That's headed away and straight out for a throw-in. Finally takes it 10 yards away from the corner flag. Again, challenge comes in. 3 minutes of stoppage time, Darren Drysdale indicates. As the ball is played forward, but Vipotnik surely is offside. Yes, he is. Good defending from Coventry. They all stepped up in unison. Thomas and Kitchen organising things at the back. They both step forward to get away from that defensive situation. They've played in the League One playoff final a little while ago, before their moves to Coventry. An unsuccessful effort in that game, I hasten to add, unfortunately for them, but they still made their way to the Championship. Full times elsewhere. Sheffield Wednesday have drawn 1-1 with Luton. Portsmouth have drawn 0-0 with Burnley. Ball is hooked forward again, cleared up over the top, hoping that both of my defensive players for Burnley played today, so that's plenty of points in my EFL team. not that it's too outstanding to pick Burnley as a 0-0. No, I hasten to add the clean sheet.
I would back you to predict that every time, really, with Burnley. But listen, it's where the logic is, of course, if they're going to be getting clean sheets, that's points for defenders, as now as Coventry win the ball back and they're on the attack. Yeah,
Bassett, good advantage played by Sam Allison. Bassett into the penalty area, looks a little overhit, it is. He was trying to thread one into the path of Rodriguez, but it just gets away from him. And Figueroa will roll it out. Full time at the New Den. It's finished Millwall 2, Queen's Park Rangers 1. 2 goals in the first 3 minutes in that game for either side before Millwall seal the victory. And we are a minute and a half of the 3 played, and again there will be big question marks about the coach at Swansea. Coventry, having made their change, will be perfectly happy with the way that they've bounded up the league in recent weeks. But for Swansea, they are worryingly looking over their shoulders as Ji Sung-em tries to get the ball into the penalty area. Blocked out, but he will have a corner at least, which he runs across quickly to take. I suspect it would be too little too late if there's anything now, with 2 minutes of the 3 gone. And the Korean will take the corner kick from the left-hand side, so it'll be the in-swinger. Players up from the back for Swansea, all in a central position in the penalty area. It's lifted in towards the near post, headed away. Comes back to Swansea again. There's going to be another offside here, yeah, and it's actually the corner kick taker who was offside because he hadn't got back on again.
You see that? I mean, it's always a very frustrating thing when that happens. I think he's actually putting the ball down as almost if the linesman is definitely from there, but not sure there's much need for that really. It's pretty much going to be the last kick of the game as well. We've had the full 3 minutes of added time, and it could be a long evening for Luke Williams. There's lots to think about.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'll bring a little smile to Swansea fans' faces. Leeds have just got a 7th, so Nottingham Forest not the only ones to hit 7 this afternoon, as Everton have hit 4 against Leicester as well. Full time, it's finished Hull 1,
They may be changing
Stoke 2.
the manager before the end of the season as well. Again, Leicester City, but just as that ball is played long, it's all over here at the Swansea.com stadium. The referee calls time. It's finished Swansea City 0, Coventry City 2.